Welcome back, everybody, to the Learning Can't Wait podcast. I'm so excited to introduce you to our next guest, Dr. Michael Stone, the superintendent of Lee County School District in Arkansas. Welcome, Dr. Stone.
Good morning. Thank you. I appreciate this opportunity to visit with you.
I'm glad you're here. I think we have a lot of great conversation to be had, and I'm going to start us off by asking my first question, which is, Dr. Stone, how did you come to be the personal and professional version of yourself?
Oh wow, that's a loaded question, Haley. So I actually let me just start by I was born and raised here in Lee County, and as I grew up in a family of nine. I've got nine. Uh, I'm going to say that again.
No problem.
I grew up with um, eight siblings in a single parent home, and we went to school here in Mariana, in Lee County, and we just we developed resiliency by growing up in some of those conditions. And I left here and I went to Harding University in Searcy, Arkansas, where I developed a passion for learning, and I developed a passion for teaching. And so I started my career off as an elementary principal in the North Little Rock School District, and um, it was the world to me. We started out teaching young minds or developing young minds at math, science, social studies, and things like that, and and wanted to make a difference in their lives. And then I started to think, I can make a greater impact if I had more control in the school setting. And so I went from there to being an assistant principal to make a bigger impact, and then learned very quickly that I wasn't really controlling anything except being an assistant. I was assisting. So I made some changes that I could, but when the opportunity came, I became principal, and then I sought out, changed the culture of a building and changed the academic success of a building. And so I just thought, hey, I can do this on an even grander scale. So I went to a district level position with federal programs. From there to executive director of student services, and then ultimately the superintendent position became available back home. And so I took that opportunity. So I did all of that over about 22 years. And so now I'm in my fourth, I started my fourth year as superintendent here in Lee County Schools in Marianna, Arkansas.
You're a bit of a hometown hero, as we like to call it, coming back to your community and becoming the superintendent. Can you talk a little bit about how Lee County has changed since you grew up there?
Well, the things are different. Growing up, it was more to me a close knit, family oriented type community. It still is, but the times have changed. The student, what students want to get into and often get into now, we did not do that when we grew up in this during our time. And so dealing with how students have changed and parents have changed uh, from when I grew up, it's like night and day. Some of the values have shifted, in my opinion, on how the parents are supportive to the schools and how they actually relate to the schools. So that's been a challenge of mine because you bring back what you thought was what you thought you knew growing up here, but it's a little bit different mindset than when I grew up here. But nevertheless, I still find joy in coming back home and shaping young minds and on a grander scale than what I've done in the past. jobs.
You know, a lot obviously has changed even beyond just the community you live in, excuse me, and what kids are focused on and what they care about. Can you talk a little bit about how Lee County has embraced technology in the community and what you're seeing as the rapid proliferation of like emergent technologies has taken over all over the United States?
Well, look, the cell phone industry is huge everywhere, and I'm going to just use, technology wise, Lee County has. I mean, we have one-to-one devices with our students. It's one-to-one, and I think that's just the way of the world. Um, but one of the pieces of technology that absolutely hinders, I think, academic growth is that cell phone. The kids are married to it. And so trying to get that out of their hands and get into their minds with what we're trying to teach them, it's been a task because they're again married to that piece of technology, and trying to separate them from that so we could actually influence learning with them has been a task. But as far as technology, Lee County has all the technology that's necessary for them to academically grow and be a part of this technological world. It's just, I think, if I had to hone in on one device that I would say, hey, let's put it down for a little bit, it would be that cell phone.
Yeah, I think a lot of schools are adopting different policies in their approaches to technology in the classroom, specifically related to cell phones. Do you have a cell phone ban in district right now? I'll tell you, the reason I ask this is I'm a parent in New York State public schools, and New York State has initiated a district by district level policy enactment. And so every district in New York is currently deciding how they're going to approach cell phone bans, whether they have them or not. And I'm curious, are you facing that same question right now? And if so, how are you approaching it?
Well, luckily, uh, has our governor has passed a law this past session, and it's a ban on cell phones in schools. And so from bell to bell, now we have some teeth behind with the governor and her initiative and passing that law.
Mm.
We have some teeth in that now. Last year we piloted a program where we did the phone pouches. We still had some issues. It was a little bit better, but I think it's going to be even better this year, simply because the governor is behind it and has passed a law that actually gives us as school district leaders support and making sure that we could say, hey, we don't want the cell phones in the classrooms from bell to bell. Not saying that they can't have them somewhere, because we know how parents are with their, contacting their kid this day and time and things that goes on in this world. But as far as bell to bell, we will not have any cell phones in our classrooms.
You know, speaking of change, one of the topics that you and I were excited to dig into today is change management and really working with the community to bring new mindsets, new ways of operating, new ways of thinking from the ground up. And this is something that you know a little bit about. Can you, and by a little bit, I mean a lot. Do you mind
Okay.
do you mind
Uh,
taking us through how you're approaching change management in your community, and why this is a topic so close to your heart?
yeah. Well, yes. Well, I kind of spoke to it before. One of the um, just coming back home, and I saw a difference in how it was when I was growing up here, and now how the student body and parents are now. Uh, there's always change that's needed, and but then I see there's a necessary. I saw that there's a necessary need to make some changes in how uh, the district was approaching education here in Lake County. So one of the things that I was looking at coming back is really the how we relate as a school district to our community, and how as teachers and the staff was relating to our students and community. And so one of the things that I wanted to do was, let's just educate. Let's educate the community and what school is like now, and what is needed now. And the cell phone comes into the and play here a little bit later on, but really it's more of a mindset to how individuals outside of the school see schools, and the purpose of schools. One, I don't think they value school as much as it was valued in the past. And so educating our parents is important. And so one of the things, initiatives that I put in was we do a parent education Zoom. We try to do a once a month on Thursdays. We'll try to educate parents on all of the upcoming things, and just throw in a couple of ideas or a couple of messages about school, and how we're involving parents and how we want to involve them into our spaces. A lot of times our parents don't believe that they're welcome into our setting. And a lot of that's because of the pushback from the teachers, and they don't want the helicopter parents. But you have to involve them. One thing that I learn and I teach is that the child comes and the parent comes as a package deal. You can't have the child without the parent. You can't have the parent without the child. You can't have school without the children, because that's where they come from, our community. And so we teach that, and we try to get more involved with our parents and the community. So changing the mindset, one, of our parents through educational Zooms, and inviting them into our spaces when we're putting on our little programs that the kids are performing in. We just educate our parents that way, but then training our teachers to accept that our parents are sending the best that they have, and our kids are coming from the best parent that they have. So just changing the mindsets of both the parents and the staff is where our culture shift is happening.
Yeah, no, it definitely takes a lot of slow, thoughtful planning to enact change in a community. And often you have to look for, your champions, and then use your champions to help influence others. One thing I'm curious about, Dr. Stone, is just about the environment that Lee County is located. So, for fans of the show, probably my mom and a couple others, there are a couple of episodes and a mini series in season 4 were about rural schools. And I think that a lot of our country is misinformed about the beauty and innovation and inspiration of rural America. We have this picture that maybe we've seen once or twice in a textbook, or from a TV show, and it doesn't really paint a picture of the beauty of how rural communities come together. Can you talk a little bit about how you've seen this come to life in Lee County, and what that collegiality means to you?
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm a fan of the show also. So you could
I
add,
love it. So it's not just my mom.
yeah, yeah, one or two other. I'm a fan also. Uh,
Well, thank you.
the beauty of rural, I drive in from I guess an urban type setting, and I was born and raised here, and I always there is a peace, and I hope I could articulate this well enough for the listeners to understand where my mind is. There's a peace when you drive into past the gorgeous fields. The landscape, everything seems to slow down. And, we always, the hustle and bustle of all the fast paced things that are going on in your life. I mean, your life is busy enough, but then when you can drive into a space where all you see is gorgeous fields, open spaces, the world seemed to kind of slow down, and there's a relaxing piece about that. So if I had to sell a rural area to someone and say, "Hey, move into this space," if you want a slower pace, peace of mind, that's where it is. It really is. Now, as far as as far as how schooling is done here and how we deal with things, our families are they are close. They although you have some, there's a difference in how I grew up and they grew up now, and how they value school and education now. That didn't come from the community as it relates to rural versus urban. That just comes, so we have younger generations having children at a younger age and things like that, and their value systems have changed. But as far as the community surrounding the school, uh, when our teams are doing well, the town shuts down, and everyone supports it, because there's not a lot to do around here in the rural areas. So you support and get in behind what the schools are doing, and so I hope I articulated well enough that this is a space that's relaxing, and yet it's important for the school to be in the community, because that community thrives around that school.
No, I love that. I love that. And I think that one quality that comes to mind, in addition to what you're naming, this beauty, this peacefulness, this pace, is also the resourcefulness. Now, one topic that I know you're really well known to talk about and you're really passionate about is fiscal responsibility and budgeting within a school and a district. So, what do you think makes your approach unique, and how has it benefited Lee County?
Okay, so the district itself was in fiscal distress when I got here, and it was because partly because I don't know if anyone understand the millage and the levies. People call it different things in different places or spaces, but we have a millage, and we are the lowest millage in the state of Arkansas. So one of the things we had to look at is, how are we spending our dollars? How are the dollars going out? We know how they come in revenue wise, but how are they going out and leaving us? And some of this irresponsible, spending, and some of it was just not, it's coding and things like that. So what we've done is put systems in place. I put a financial procedure packet together, and then we went about training all of our secretaries and our AP, which is accounts payable, our general business manager. We went through training everyone on how this new system is going to work. Everything goes into our Google Drive before it's going into a requisition or purchase order process. We're paying our bills on time and things like that. So it's really, my approach is systematic. This is how you requisition something. This is how it's paid through accounts payable, and here's the documentation that goes with it. So, and that's all for the auditing purposes. So after 2 years, we were out of fiscal distress, putting those systems in place. So my approach is pretty simple. You got revenue in, and you've got expenditures out, and you want to make sure that your expenditures out is less than what the revenue you're bringing in.
If it was so simple, though, everyone would do it. So I got to give you a little bit of credit here, Dr. Stone, right? Coming out of fiscal distress in a school district is not an easy task. However, what I hear you saying is really that you've simplified how you're approaching the challenge. You approached the challenge. And you really sat down with the numbers, and you thought, very methodically about what changes you needed to make. I don't think people realize that schools are businesses.
Yeah.
That like the leader of a district like Lee County is a CEO managing multi-million-dollar budget. And that is no easy feat. So congratulations on that enormous accomplishment, and appreciate you walking the listeners through the process you went through.
Well, I appreciate your confidence in what I'm doing. I do tend to simplify things by putting systems in place, and
Yeah.
if you put a system in place, a system that works, then that makes it simpler for. Then it's how I think about things too. So
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
that's it,
No,
But
that's
I did a
great.
lot. There is some lot of behind the scene work that goes into the details of all of that. So you're absolutely correct. There's a lot, but I tend to simplify things through a system.
You know what that makes for? It sounds like it makes for success in your community. It also makes for good listening. Right? Because then folks that want to replicate what you've done are able to follow what you've done pretty easily. So it's a win-win all around. Dr. Stone, I can't believe we're really rounding out here time for our final question, but you've given a lot of what I appreciate about this conversation. You've really been given a lot of clear answers to how you've changed your community, what you're focused on, what matters to you. I'm curious now, thinking back to your days in the classroom, what advice you would give a teacher who's starting their career today?
Oh my, once a teacher, always a teacher.
Mm,
And yeah, I'm gonna say I find times to teach. I teach a Bible class. I've taught a college level course. I'm always trying to find a way to go back to teach. So what I would tell a new teacher or teacher is to always have that passion for student learning. Always have that passion for your continuous
hmm.
learning because the more you learn, the more you can impart knowledge upon the students that you're getting ready to teach.
Right there. That's it. That's the good stuff. Dr. Stone, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and sharing what's happening down in Lee County and how you're leading the community through change and exciting times. I really appreciate you coming on today.
Well, thank you, Haley. I appreciate you guys taking time and thinking of me.
And thank you to everybody who tuned in today.